that I've sort of made a transition after having children, working as an employee to self-employed. Just that transition and the tax returns that's required. And the banks sort of take a little while to basically allow you to access the equity in your home. So that was sort of quite frustrating at the start. Really frustrating.
Because how long did it take you?
I'm like a little embarrassed to say it did take us like 11 months.
You're listening to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard. Here's your host, Tabitha Bright.
Hello and welcome to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard, where I get to speak to property investors from around Australia about their investing journey. My name's Tabitha Bright and I'm the head of coaching at Positive Real Estate, where we help people build wealth through property. With over 8,000 clients across Australia and New Zealand, there are some incredible stories to tell, which hopefully make your investing journey that little bit easier and will inspire you along the way. So my guests today are James and Diana Swadling, who applied the skills they learned in business, diligence, grit, bravery, to their finance process. And they share a fantastic story around that and where they got to in the end, but it took some effort. And secondly, they share the key principles around money management that have given them options in their investing and businesses. So enjoy this conversation with Diana and James. Right. So Diana, James, awesome to have you here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Tab. Nice to be here.
It's really, really appreciated. I know we were just having a bit of a laugh before that you say that you want to join the podcast, and then you actually realise you have committed, and we start.
What have I signed up for?
Pressure on you, yes. Answer questions and lock it in. And I guess I've read through some of your answers because here at the podcast we like to be prepared. So these guys have done an amazing job having a bit of a think about some of the lessons that they've had with their investing. And where I'm keen to start today is finance, because a lot of people, when they start investing, because you guys are business owners, let me take it back a step. You guys are business owners, so people understand. You both run two separate businesses. James, you've got a business in training athletes. Diana, you've got a breast pump and maternity business. Would that be correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Predominantly like an e-commerce, retailer. So yeah.
Awesome. And so you guys are, busy running your businesses, plus you have a family. How many children have you got?
Two kids. 7 and 4.
Yeah.
Busy. Plus you're investing and learning about investing and everything that entails. So jumping through all the hoops. So, first of all, hats off to you guys for, they say if you want something done, go to a busy person, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably key, because what stands out in having had just a couple of quick strategy sessions with you, but you work with Rob, King and Riley, who just sing your guys' praises. And what's been really evident with you guys is you're really on the ball. So you get stuff done, you get stuff sorted. And we were talking about that before, right?
Yep.
So about being business owners, how the buck stops with you. And when it came to your finance, you went to unlock some equity in your home so you could start investing. So tell me a little bit about that. What happened?
Well, I guess after we signed up at Positive, we're sort of all ready to go. We knew we had equity available in our house. So we purchased the house that we live in about 10 years ago. So we've been lucky being in Sydney that it's sort of doubled in value. So we had this sort of untapped potential that we wanted to access for deposits. but yeah, we were basically stuck because we're self-employed. James has a established business, but I've sort of made a transition after having children, working as an employee to self-employed. Just that transition and the tax returns that's required. And the banks sort of take a little while to basically allow you to access the equity in your home. Yeah. So that was sort of quite frustrating at the start. Yeah, really frustrating.
Because how long did it take you?
I'm like a little embarrassed to say it did take us like 11 months. So part of that was just about 6 months of that was really getting that tax return to show a better income. And yeah, just a lot of documentation when you're self-employed. That was probably a little bit, overwhelming, and definitely, I think initially we had tried to just go direct to our bank, but we definitely had to go to a broker. That's sort of a non-negotiable, I think, being self-employed, that just keeping on top of that documentation. I'd recommend a broker.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And when both of you are self-employed, and both of your businesses do really well, but it's getting the banks to be comfortable with all of your numbers, making sure you're declaring enough, right? Because what we see with a lot of self-employed people, particularly when their businesses are young, is that you minimize what you earn on paper to maximize your tax savings. And you have to bite the bullet. There's a trade-off, right? You have to actually declare a decent income so that you can borrow. Was that part of your experience? Not so much this time, but that was actually all my stuff, because it's online payments. I was really the hold up in our refinancing, because James had the established business where I had sort of dotted around part-time and full-time work, transitioning with kids. So it was really the financing was really from my business, and the bank sort of not understanding on paper the growth and sort of some of the expenses. So just needed to have the 2 years. There was no sort of short changing the 2 years of tax returns. Yeah. Yeah. And even sometimes it can be counterintuitive. I've had clients that have had businesses that have gone from a standing start, and they've done X amount 1 year, and then it's trebled the following year. And the banks are like, nah, we're only going to allow you to use this much of that growth.
Yes.
Because they have these rules around what's sustainable, how they view it. And it can be frustrating, because you go, well, use logic. Like, I can show you the business plan. We can show you, we've got a contract with this, this person that's going to buy X amount. And they're still like, nah, computer says
no.
And so hats off to you guys for persevering, because one of the key qualities that I think successful investors possess or learn to foster is perseverance.
Yes.
Doing the grind is what I refer to it, James, in my training for my running. I think trail running is I get to punt trail running again, is the perfect training ground for investors. I'd get all the investors out there trail running if I could, because you do the grind, you do the boring stuff, you do the hard work, you have to have the discipline and do the stuff that other people don't want to do. So I think it's perfect. I try to get all the team trail running as well. I've only succeeded with Karen so far. But back to finance, because I'll go off on a tangent. So you got there in the end, though. So your perseverance paid off, and you released some equity. And then what happened?
Well, it was almost a blessing that it took that long, because it gave us time to speak to our coach and property consultant, Robin Riley, so that we'd sort of tapped into their knowledge, so that when we did have access to equity and that feedback from the broker, like knowing our like borrowing limit, we could actually take action when the opportunity came. So we didn't have to sort of have some of those conversations on, what we were actually trying to achieve.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you were able to do a lot of the prep and the groundwork while you went through that process. And that,
although it was frustrating at the time.
It was, but they're both so positive. And I think it links back to what you're saying about the trail running, the athlete mindset, that positive mindset to go through those tough moments, those speed bumps. I think that really helped. They were great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so what happened? You got the money in your account and...
Well, I think it was officially, we purchased 3 properties almost in 2 or 3 weeks. Like it happened like very, very quickly.
Every one of the Monday mentoring sessions, the property that came up was just like, we're like, oh, that one looks great. Then the next session would be, oh, that one looks great. And we didn't draw a line in the sand though, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's rough. I was saying to Jason the other day, we were having a bit of a chin wag, and there's another property up that's being launched. Oh, it was launched on Monday night with the mentoring group. And once again, it looks so damn good. And it's such a curse because if you could, you'd buy everything, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But you got 3 awesome properties. You've got something in Canterbury in Melbourne, which for those that don't know Canterbury, it's about as blue chip as you can get as a suburb. And you've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment there in a low density boutique apartment block in an area where there's just not many apartments. It's what we call NIMBY. So, and not in my backyard suburb, where residents want to maintain the streetscapes of the big homes and the grassy verges and the trees and everything. And so that property will fit beautifully into that. You've got Spotswood, which is an up and coming gentrifying area close to CBD in Melbourne. And you've also got a property in Brisbane. So Brookwater, a freestanding 4-bedroom townhouse, which I know were hotly contested amongst clients. That one, I think everybody, including staff and team, we were all keen to jump on that one. So
we had Diana on the early expression of interest. We had the chat, a very short chat about who was faster filling in forms. It was definitely Diana. So she
we were lucky on that one.
Yeah.
Speedy fingers.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that was a good one, that one. A beautiful townhouse. And you got in really at the time where the market has just shot off from that point. And so a couple of those or in fact all of them are off the plan. And sometimes people have preconceived ideas about off the plan. It's like, oh, if you buy off the plan, people have got concerns that you make a loss. And I think sometimes there's a few barbecue stories that do the rounds where people haven't understood off the plan and the time in the market that you might consider it. The supply levels are important. What's happening in the market is important. The type of property you buy, they get confused with the stories around Docklands and big development areas like that. And they assume that off the plan means that for everything. But off the plan used well. I mean, all 3 of those properties you will have equity in right now, and you haven't even settled them, which is pretty good.
But definitely that was probably my experience before joining as well, that if you bought off the plan, you were buying a subpar property, all those stories about the apartments in Sydney, with big cracks and things like that. So I can't say I would have done that off the plan by myself. I definitely don't, even now, like my knowledge, I definitely still need an experienced team, I think, for that. Don't think I would feel confident doing that on my own. But for where we are now, off the plan, I think is really going to help us for where we are, and just having another year for that better tax return, as self-employed, definitely is to our advantage.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and there's got to be some rules around off the plan. And just for the reference, I wouldn't buy off the plan if I wasn't going through positive real estate either. And because, would I go out and negotiate my own existing deal in a market that was okay to do that? 100%. But off the plan, it requires understanding the developer, understanding what stock's coming on the market, what's the developer's reputation, how much of that is spin. It's all of that, I guess, due diligence that sometimes is only available to either bigger companies that have the relationships or are in the industry all the time. And I think, so off the plan, when done well, can be really conducive to people's results. But I'm with you. I'd only do off the plan even myself through positive real estate. And I have done off the plan through positive. So we cooks eating our own cooking, I think is important.
Which is what you also want to see as well. Like, if there'd be something wrong if that wasn't happening.
Absolutely. And we do encourage all our team to buy through positive real estate. Just out of interest, all our team get free coaching, and say free, it's coaching and mentoring for them via the company. So because we want all our team to be successful financially. And I look at some of the young people that are getting out there and they've got 2 or 3 properties under their belt and they're not even 30.
Yeah.
Like, my Lord, they're just going to, in this market, they're just going to do so well. So then, so you've got those under your belt. Some of the rules around off the plan are that you always need a buffer for settlement. So the guys would have talked to you about having that buffer. And so that's part of your strategy, just in case it protects, because, one of the risks in off the plan is you can get a low valuation regardless of the market. It's very unlikely in this market, but sometimes we don't control when markets turn or shift. And so an important way to protect yourself is to always have, that buffer, that 5% extra buffer. But beyond that, I mean, off the ones that you guys have got, like I said, you've already got equity in those, which is super exciting. When do you settle those?
They all settle next year. So if they settle on time, I think it's sort of April, July and October. So
fantastic.
Fingers crossed.
100%. There's one thing to control. And sometimes, believe it or not, they do finish a little bit early. Although probably unlikely in this market.
Yeah.
And you said something interesting here. You said any investing journey initially starts with spending less than you earn. However, if you control your spending while increasing your income, this can fast track your journey. And I thought, as a pearl of wisdom, that was really important. So
thank you.
Well, it's these small things that people, they don't always hear how important they are. So do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think as like we do spend less than we earn. So that's definitely like we don't have credit cards, like personal credit cards. So that has always been important from the get-go. But also, like, life's short. Like I don't want to not drink coffee from a cafe ever again. So I think part of owning your own business is also manifesting your own income. And so sometimes if you want to take that holiday, what are you going to do in your business? Or, if you're an employee, what are you going to do so that you get that pay rise so that you can have that holiday too? So it doesn't always have to be, eating baked beans on toast, because that, certainly wouldn't fly with me. You want to have that sort of trade-off. But I think, that if you focus on increasing your income, that's only going to reap the rewards later on as well. And that's definitely been, a key that's got us this far, that our income has sort of jotted around while our kids were little, but now we're sort of in a stage where we're getting those rewards for making those sort of sacrifices earlier on.
Which is awesome. And it's that thing about, if you can keep your expenses static and your income increasing, it's that gap that enables you to really supercharge yourself, whereas most people do this, right?
It's tempting. But I think I know one thing I didn't put in the notes, but one thing I do when I pay myself, because I literally pay myself like payroll, is that like I pay a certain amount, to our investment into different in accounts. So I use sort of a bucket system, so that that's really the part that you're actually paying yourself, is really that extra bit that you're putting in an offset above your mortgage or your investment or your super, and then the rest is what you have.
I like that as a system. And I was going to ask you something really important about that, and it's just skipped my mind. So take me through your bucket system. So you pay yourself, because what I like that you guys do is that you're not living on beans and rice, but you're being very deliberate about where you spend your money. So it's conscious choices around money, which I really like. And if you guys have something special that you want to do, be it small special like a night out, a nice meal, whatever it might be, or a bigger special like a holiday, tell me how you map that out. Tell me about your bucket system.
So we use multiple offsets. So that's like the one negotiable when we were renegotiating our mortgages, that I think I have like we
11.
have I think it's about maybe 9 offset accounts. So like we've got a special one for childcare, another one for holiday. So that's one that's really important for us, is that we want to have those experiences as a family. So month to month, that money is there. And then obviously when you want to take that holiday, you're not relying on a credit card. You're just taking it from your own account.
That's awesome.
So you can actually really enjoy it, not come back and then have to start paying off.
The hangover.
It's really stress-free.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I know when I was coaching a lot of, it's weird sometimes, and I don't know if you guys find this with your businesses, but you attract different customers at different times. And at one point, there were a lot of young people that were coming looking for coaching. And by young, I mean anywhere between sort of 18 to 25, right? They were looking for coaching. And many of them didn't have a lot of deposit funds, but they were really aware that they may not be able to get into the home that they wanted due to, starting incomes. And it was important for them that later on they had choices when they did have families. And so they wanted to use investing as a way to the whole rent vesting thing. And so I'd say to them, well, could you commit to 2 years? Like 2 years where you move back home with mum and dad, or you don't travel overseas, you don't have your avo on toast, and all of that stuff. But we have to put a time frame on it, because you're right. Living on beans and rice, James, I guess it's like any kind of training, like it's got to be sustainable, right? There's no point, and you must see this all the time where people, they're like, I'm in, I'm going to go and do it. I'll go to the gym, smash it out for 3 months, and then they fall off the wagon, right?
Yeah, the plan has to have longevity.
does have to have longevity. And I think that's what I like about your bucket system. Yeah. So have you guys found it's given you that kind of
absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. Next thing I liked that you guys said, because I highlighted all of these, was invest in yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So really small actions can have big impact 20 years from now. Keep contributing into super while on maternity leave if you can. Obviously not everyone can, but if you can do, even if it's a small amount. Tell me about that. Have you guys got stuff where,
it's something that I didn't do. And even so that would be my, my advice.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. And I think just in general, being self-employed, like when you're starting out and you're not making a profit, paying yourself super is like the last thing on your mind. And then you get 5 years in and you're like, oh, like it does actually make a difference. So that's I guess one of our next steps now that we're sort of securing more assets in our personal names, is that making sure we're making those contributions to sort of get back on track for that. But I think the investing in yourself as well, it could be like if you're an employee, a new course, and that doesn't need to be a new course, or reading a self-help book. It doesn't need to be, or it could be going to university, that like your biggest asset is your income, like when you're 20, that you've got 40 years ahead of you, that's your biggest asset. It's just not on paper, like
Awesome. And so what was holding you back from investing in real estate before PRE? So what held you back? We touched on it a little bit with a bit of a lack of confidence maybe, and then you had the kids and all of that happening. So tell me a little bit about that, because you bought your home.
Yeah, so we've bought our house 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2012.
So we sort of did got married, bought a house and had kids. So it was like tick, tick, tick. And then we always sort of had the idea that we would love to invest, but it's bad to say, we just didn't prioritize it in those early days. But we did start our own businesses. So there was I don't think we really could have started any earlier while we were starting our own business, because genuinely there was income holding us back from serviceability. And then just lack of confidence. I think like
where to start.
That
we didn't have a plan or the confidence to execute the plan, and that's where PREs helped out.
Definitely. I think when we purchased, we purely just purchased our house where we wanted to live. Like we didn't do any crazy analysis in Sydney, and we're not knowledgeable on the different property markets across Australia. I think buying sight unseen, it's not something that I could have done by myself. I think I would have been too much of a control freak. But I for sure, the lack of confidence was definitely stopping us moving forward. And Rob and Riley certainly helped us. We had lots of conversations over a long period of time, and they were able to sort of guide us, because I think the 3 properties, like it's a sort of a vanity metric, that it sounds really great, but it's also like what it does for you and like what's the results. So like I know Riley, there was some opportunities that is this the right fit for me, and I think on a couple of occasions he actually said no. So it's I think it's always important that you trust who you're speaking to, and they're like, this is not the right thing for your situation. So Rob and Riley have been great.
Oh, awesome. Often, and I don't know if this was your experience, but often we gravitate to stuff that makes us feel like it's safe, like it's not too big a jump on something. And I think what I say to clients is buy the best that your situation will allow you to buy. So, not everyone can get into a 2-bedroom apartment in Canterbury. Like that's A+ property in an A+ location. But buy the next best thing that you can afford. Because, people will always buy quality, and it's, as an investor, if you're offloading, and it's quality that has that emotional attachment that your owner occupier will always stretch their limit to buy something that they want or they're attached to or they can see themselves in, or there's or that they want to be seen owning. And so it's the owner occupier that drives the capital growth. If you're buying investment stock, you think about investors, we always try to get the lowest price possible. We'll negotiate hard. We drive the prices that way if we could control it. And so always buy the best you can. Did you find initially that price point was something you were confident with? I mean, you're from Sydney, so maybe price point wasn't an issue because you're used to bigger price points in Sydney, of course.
I wish. No, we're not that bad. I think we had sort of discussed that around that sort of 700,000 was where we were sort of confident, where we could sort of go for a little higher quality rather than sort of having multiple properties at a lower price point. But it is scary to think about, like because how much you spent on your first house 10 years ago. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm spending what on an investment that I haven't seen before. It is daunting. Even when you do all the homework, it is still daunting when you make that final decision and sign the paperwork. It all seems very real. So you're like,
Oh, well, good on you guys. And, a theme that comes through for you guys, for me, if I had 2 words to describe you guys, would be diligent and brave. And I'm not trying to blow hot air up you or anything. But it's interesting because, you have been brave. You've gone out and done some stuff that's probably been outside your comfort zone, but you've made the effort to learn and engage and understand what you're doing, which I would think has given you some confidence to take action. And then you're diligent, like spending 11 months, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about that. I think when I was going through in the early 2000s, a heavy stage of investing, I was in acquisitions phase and buying a lot of properties. I think I had something like 32 credit hits on my file. I remember the bank questioning why I had so many applications for finance. I didn't buy 32 properties, but I had, I'd been applying for a lot. And I know how much work was required to push through and get finance. And we were low doc borrowers back then as well, which you would think made it relatively straightforward. But being business owners, same thing. It was absolute hell on wheels sometimes trying to get stuff through lenders. But hats off to you guys for pushing through. Like, I want everyone to really hear that and get that sometimes we grumble about 4 weeks to get finance, 11 months. I'll just say, go watch the podcast.
Yes.
And then it's like pent up demand, bang, bang, bang.
It is.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess let's go to that classic story. So if you could give yourself, your younger self, some advice, knowing what you know today, what would you say to young James and young Diana? I'll let you individually.
Well, seek help from the experts earlier. I think we probably weren't brave enough, or certainly I wasn't brave enough to explore those opportunities and get that help. But that was the key for us, just getting us on that right path, helping us to get that confidence to find what we were looking for, what suited us, and have all of our questions answered. That's it there.
Fantastic. Diana.
Jane stole mine.
It was the better of the two.
It's like, why didn't you let my husband go first?
You guys are
but
funny.
yeah, mine was the seek help earlier. I think could have maybe quickened a little bit because we didn't sort of reach out till we thought we were ready. That I think even if you've got credit card debt or something like that, that it doesn't have to, the journey doesn't start like when you're ready to buy. The journey starts wherever you're at now, that you can actually change your position, whatever that is. But the earlier you seek advice, that you can change that and improve your situation.
100%. I absolutely concur. The amount of people that have sat down in front of me even and said, I don't think I can do anything right now, and I've been able to buy 2 properties. It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And even if you are in a not so great position, getting some help can mean you get out of that position faster, and do less damage to credit files and bits and pieces. Very sage advice. And so before we wrap it up, anything that either of you want to share that I haven't touched on? James, Diana?
No.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Much appreciated having you on today, and some good gems in amongst all of that. So thanks again, and good luck with your investing. And no doubt you'll settle those 3 beautifully. And I would suggest that there'll be some nice equity in that. So good work, guys, and great luck with your business.
Thanks, Tab.
Thanks, Tab.
My pleasure. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
He did steal my thing on the page. I was like,
it's the one that's highlighted.
He started to merge. I was like, are you kidding me? That's okay. They sort of merged, but anyway. I was like, I'm sticking with mine.
I thought I was the spokesperson speaking on behalf of this.
Anyway.
Oh, so funny. Well, good work, guys. Cool. So obviously don't hesitate to sing out if you need anything. And James, send me through what you do.
Yeah, I will. So how long's the Mount Buffalo one? Because that's about 10 Ks up, but maybe you're doing more. Yeah, I know the mountain itself, Mount Buffalo, is about 10K.
Yeah.
Is that how long it is for you, the run?
No, it's a marathon. So
oh God.
But it's the opposite. It's 10K. We start at the top. So it's 10K down. So I'm going to absolutely smash my legs and my quads.
Worse.
Yeah. And then it's up and down. I think it's about 1,800 vert all up. Yeah, and the last hill has a 40% gradient.
Oh, Jesus.
You're just walking up. Yeah.
Gosh.
Power hiking, we call it.
Yeah.
No walking or jogging allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be some fun.
Yeah.
When's that one?
April the 3rd.
Oh, gosh, you haven't got far to go.
No, I mean, this is me. I do and I've got my physio and I run everything past him. I do my
nice.
Yeah.
And I map it all out, and I'm looking forward to next week because it's a down week. I do a 3-week cycle I just find at my age I need a rest week in between.
Yeah. 3-week cycle, so 2 on, 1 off.
Not off completely. I just drop
my
mileage.
But
yeah. So I build up This week's my big week, but I'll do it like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
2-week
people
taper.
will try and do a 3 on 1 off, but I think that's too much for most people.
Yeah, I'm turning 53 next week, so I'm finding I need it. Yeah, and I'm in bed so early. Like my kids have all left home and everything, so I'm I'm in bed by seriously sometimes about 7 o'clock at night. I'm just like
get that recovery. Yeah.
That's my dream. Like,
I know. Trust me, it was my dream at one point too, and now I'm living the dream.
Yeah. Except the marathon.
Yeah.
Chocolate, a cup of tea, Netflix, bed. That's me.
Oh gosh. Cool. So when is
any
this going to air? Where am I?
Any tips for Antarctic marathon?
Oh well, let's see. So the girl I coached, the woman I coached, she did the Arctic and Antarctic in the same year, and she was the first female across the line for both of them. So we called her the bipolar champion of the world. But she,
that's great.
So if it's the same, I think it's short loops, isn't it? It's like a 6K loop around and around and around. So I think
that doesn't sound like much fun, but I'm up for it.
So mentally,
in white, like
exactly.
White,
it's like the white torture.
Yeah.
Now this is one cheeky one. Let someone go first so they can break the snow in front of you because it makes it easier running. Generally, that's not too much of a problem unless you're planning to win the thing outright.
No.
So that's always good. The wind and the blizzardy conditions helps if you work as a pack together. So someone's breaking. And sharing the heat coming off other people. And then
might be changing your mind.
I love it.
Really?
The hydration is tricky as well. Just making, I'm not sure exactly how it works because I've not experienced it, but being able to get the water, the fluids in without it freezing on your lips or on your body.
Of course, because that could be painful.
Yeah,
so I think of that.
Yeah.
I will definitely be coming to you if the day I book it in. I will be booking in my first coaching session with you. If you're taking any older people on like me.
That's
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's all stuff I hadn't even thought about. And how long did it take her? Because I mean, I know my trail marathons are very different to road marathon. My road marathon.
Absolutely. That she was a 4-hour marathon runner. I think this was over 6 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah,
over 6 hours.
Yeah, she hasn't done too bad then, because even I did 50K in just over 6 hours trail, and I'm just over 4 hours for a marathon.
Yeah.
Road
that sounds
marathon.
similar. And I think it can it's just so exposed, it can change. Sometimes you get good clear days. I think I forget which one.
It was definitely tough. She was, I think, because she had done a few marathons. Because her partner was crazy. He was in the army. I think you have.
So the partner,
Dave Goggins-ish or something.
He was ex-SAS, and what he'd done is he'd coached a group of friends from his workplace to do the UTA 100.
What's her name?
Demel Zafar and James Anderson.
No, I don't know.
And so James, he did the 100K trail run with his teammates, but they're sort of tapping along. And he finished and it's like, okay, well, you guys got your run in. Now it's time for me to get my run in. So he ran the course himself, another 100Ks, then slept on the side of the trail for 4 hours and did the 100K run back.
He
So
was nuts.
300 Ks of running in 4 days. Insanity.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's a few
crazy.
runs at the moment.
Crazy.
Have you heard of Delirious? You're Sydney. There's Delirious West.
What's that?
That's
Who's
over in.
Oh, is it a
WA.
person? Or is it a person?
No. Delirious
Okay.
West is the
Yeah.
run. It's 280 or 350. I can't remember which miles. And they do it same thing over 4 days. But there's one in Adelaide, and there's one, I can't remember what the east one is. But there's one that they've just started here. Like, people do crazy. I don't have any desire to do. I'll do 100 miler. That's my big one. Yeah, that's 23. I'm going the miler, but then that's it. And I won't do it on a regular basis.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's like
Tick
a one-off just to say I did it.
Yeah.
And I've got 100 coming up this year, K. And then I'll be back down to nice stuff that means I don't
a marathon.
myself.
Like,
Yeah,
an easy marathon. Like,
Have you seen the Jungle Marathon?
No.
I think I've shown you this Jungle Marathon. It's I'm not sure if it's still operating. It might be. It was a few years ago. The jungles of Brazil. There's different options. You can do the marathon, a 42K run through the jungle, or you can do like a 6-day event, which is like you run 10Ks one day, half marathon the next, 12Ks, and then you finish with the full marathon. But it's through jungle terrain, so you're going through water, traps. People see jaguars in the bush.
Yeah,
there's and anyway,
and
that's an experience.
The humidity is what would nail me. Because Lara Pinta, you can do the course up in the outback, out by Uluru and all of that. You can do 4 days on that, but it's the heat. I'm no good in heat.
Neither.
No. Even this humidity we've had this summer has just nailed me. I'm useless in heat.
Sure.
Oh, sounds like we've got lots to talk about. Send me your stuff.
Yeah, cool. We'll do.
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys.
Oh, no worries. I hope it was good.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
This will probably
be good.
This will probably be the only episode that I won't listen to. I don't want to listen to myself.
Listen to it. You get used to it. You see yourself on video and you just go, oh my God, is that what I look like? But then it's like, doesn't matter, or sound like.
I've only been interviewed once for a different podcast from my e-commerce coach from a couple of years ago, and I still haven't listened to it. I said that I was going to get drunk one night and listen to it so that I wouldn't care, but I still haven't. So
well, I won't be offended if you don't, but it's awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Oh,
cool.
Thank you very much.
Care.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to Property Investor Tales. Remember to subscribe so you get notified every time a new episode drops. As you can guess, I love hearing people's property investor tales. So if you'd like to share yours, then please get in touch with me via email at propertyinvestortales@positivementor.com.au. We would also love your feedback, and I would appreciate a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember, you can watch all of these podcasts over on YouTube at Positive Mentor or at positivementor.com.au. Until then, take care, happy investing, and bye for now.